Hello everyone, Randall Taussig, Blue Core Leadership, and welcome to another leadership lesson from the cockpit. And today I'm so excited to have had an interview in the cockpit with my good friend and professional pilot, Rob Evers. Rob Evers is a Southwest Airlines captain. He's a Czech pilot. He has a passion for burning avgas in airplanes like this. And he also has a knack of telling some really good stories. And we did have that opportunity over lunch in the cockpit, all around. I really enjoyed it. We talked about coaching. We focused on coaching because coaching is so important when it comes to pilots becoming proficient. And it's also very important in our business life as leaders and managers. I enjoyed the conversation. I think you will too. Join me in the cockpit with Rob Evers. See you soon. Here with Rob Evers, who is a fantastic guy and a somewhat okay pilot.
I'm working on being the okay pilot, yeah.
But captain for Southwest Airlines for how long?
25 and a half years. So been with Southwest since September 2000. I was at a regional airline for 5 years before that, and then flew corporate flight instructor before that. Started flying in 1991, different capacities. Made captain in spring of '06, and then have been a Czech pilot for Southwest for 13 years in June.
13 years, and two separate times we're able to go into the simulator because your very kind invitation to go there, and that was just incredible for me. So the fact that you're going to fly today, and it's a little serious with me, but you know, you do fly in the small planes as well.
I do. I never wanted to lose that sense of general aviation community.
But I love the fact that you agreed to sit down and talk to me. And we're going to talk today about this whole idea of having impact and building confidence and competence with people through coaching, through mentoring, through teaching, and then sometimes we have to do directing because you're in a job here where you're essentially setting people up to be able to be captains.
Right.
And I'm assuming there's then a lot of teaching, but also a lot of coaching and mentoring that goes into that.
There is. As an instructor, your involvement changes, if you will, in the initial aspect of I'm going to tell you the mechanics, or I'm going to show you the mechanics and demonstrate the mechanics of how to do what we're doing. And then later, I really want to sit back and I want you to run with it. And then as a new captain, who's someone who's been in the right seat for 7, 8, 10, 12, how many years, that they can oversee the operation. And that perspective changes dramatically from the mechanical side of flying as a first officer to the captain's perspective, which is being the manager, if you will, of a large team.
And that's where I think that there's such a great analogy. And it's interesting. I'm going to say this from a personal standpoint. Not everybody maybe feels this way. But I can get stressed when I feel like I'm being evaluated. Even me setting this up with you, I'm going to be really candid. I'm thinking I'm going to be flying left seat with a captain of Southwest Airlines who teaches, mentors, and is a Czech pilot for those that are captains as well. I mean, to me, it can be a little bit intimidating. In fact, like I'm going to fly this airplane, I'm thinking, what's Rob thinking right now? He's not going to say anything, but what is he thinking, right? What is he thinking?
It's so funny you say that. So every year, regardless of seat position, first officer, captain, you go through our annual recurrent training. And it doesn't matter how many times I have been through recurrent training. It doesn't matter how many years I have in the airplane. You always get butterflies. I've shifted my mindset from what am I doing wrong to what opportunities do I have to get better?
I love that. So if you can shift it from I'm being evaluated to, you know, I'm confident that I got the skills here. Now it's an opportunity for me to grow.
Right.
It's an opportunity for it to absorb maybe some new information and to just be open to what I'm not seeing.
Yep.
It can sort of take the pressure.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's a key aspect. You know, part of what we talk about, and I you know, thought as a piece of what we're going to talk about today is that sometimes I know in the business world people do feel that they're criticized or they're judged. They're not doing good enough, and sometimes they have bosses that's the way they operate. Those are not good bosses, but unfortunately sometimes people are with that. And What's amazing is really what you're saying is that people flourish when that pressure is off them. They don't feel like they're being judged. They're kind of in a partnership
100%.
and constantly looking at how do I get better. You've never really reached that point where you're at it. Like never, right? That's the thing about flying. We always learn there's something.
There's no such thing as a perfect flight.
No,
the day that I have the perfect flight is my last day flying.
Yeah.
It just takes practice.
One of the things then, I think we'll talk more about it when we're in the cockpit, maybe over breakfast, but is this idea that when we are in a position of leading, there's a point where it's very appropriate to coach. It's appropriate to have teaching moments. There's also points where you have to be very directive. Like you just have to be very clear. You're not opening it up to we're having a discussion.
Right.
There's giving direction or being directive. What points do you need to become directive?
Great question.
And have you had situations where it's been heated?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's really the time criticality of what is happening. Like if we're in a position where it's windy, the runway's slippery, short runway, heavy aircraft, I don't have time to say, hey, if you don't mind, would you please fill in the blank, whatever, to get the airplane on the ground. In some situations, you just have to get the airplane on the ground. And back to the original thing, I have time at altitude with the person I'm flying with to have that conversation of our planning and come up with contingencies and talk about the risk associated with this approach and arrival while we're sipping coffee at 35,000 feet while I'm a half an hour from landing. That's when I have the time to start off coaching or maybe teaching, then coaching. You know, hey, here's what we're going to expect to see.
All right, what do you say we get into the cockpit?
Let's do it. Let's go flying.
All right.
Deal.
Sounds good.
All right, we're in the cockpit here. It's been busy, very busy. I'm glad you're here. What do you see as the difference between coaching and mentoring? The coaching aspect of it is I'm going to help you learn something new. Mentoring is just organically being able to just hopefully share a little bit of our experience in that you take what may happen that may be beneficial to help you out in an aviation sense, like the coach and be like, hey, you know, you might want to turn to this heading, or we might want to think about this altitude. Just kind of small hints, or maybe do it something a little bit different as far as how to operate the aircraft. The mentoring is, you know, watching maybe someone else fly and or someone else set up the airplane or some other process, and then taking that and incorporating into what you're doing.
Yeah, so really guiding, here's how I do it. And the coaching is sort of giving a space for them to learn how to do it. And, yeah, so when we sit down for breakfast, I'd like to talk about that. That will be a great conversation. Join us again next month as Rob and I switch seats on our flight back from Vero Beach, and we continue the conversation around coaching. You won't want to miss it.